Okay, now we're diving into the growing debate over trans women being recognized simply as women. What does this mean for women's sports, women's spaces, and how do we define gender in society? Can we have an open, honest conversation without getting shut down? Well, let's dive into it. And this topic right here is a big one, a real controversial one, and it's another one that I just don't understand how people
I'm confused
don't
too.
understand.
I'm
There's
confused too.
two genders. You're male or female. You know what I'm saying? Like, cut point period.
Period. At least that's what I remember growing up. Or that's what...
No, that's what I know. That's what we know. It ain't about remembering nothing. That's what you know.
That's what we were taught growing up. But that's what I'm saying. Remember how we just talked about how language, with the stroke of a pen, language changes. So when we were coming up, that's what it was.
Now the language has changed. What's the gender you've been assigned at birth? That's a big one. When I heard that on the commercial, like, which gender you have been assigned, like there was a bag of genders.
Yeah.
And they just was like, well, which one you want? Which one you want?
Right,
you want to be a leprechaun? You want to be a boy? You want to be a he, she?
You want to be a cat?
You want to be a cat? Meow. Like,
now, before we'll stay on topic. So, yeah, going back to let's start with the executive order for keeping women out of, keeping men out of women's sports.
Right.
So that was the most recent order that was signed in relation to this specific topic. Let's read it real quick. It says, therefore, it is the policy of the United States to rescind all funds from educational programs that deprive women and girls of fair athletic opportunities, which results in the endangerment, humiliation, and silencing of women and girls and deprives them of privacy. We'll stop right there. Now, as a sports fan myself, I enjoy looking at sports of all kinds. And one of the things of recent years that I personally felt a little pissed off about was the fact that we got these men trying to compete against the women. Like, that really grinds my gears, and I don't really understand why people don't understand why that's a problem.
At the Portland Interscholastic League Championships, a trans sophomore runner for McDaniel High School finished first in both the girls' 200 meter and the 400 meter. You can see the athlete speeding by their competition here. The athlete, formerly a male, is allowed to compete under the OSAA rules as a girl and will compete this weekend at state. They have the top 200 meter time in the state and the third best time in the 400 meter. Neither time would have made the podium on the boys' side.
Yo, I don't understand it either. I don't understand what's so hard to not even admit. I mean, it's just acknowledge a fact.
Yeah.
You know, if I sit here and say 1 and 1 is 2, how are you gonna sit there and say 1 and 1 is 11? You know what I'm saying? It's like no, it's not. You know, you have 2 ones next to each other, but if you adding both of those ones, you get 2.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, so.
But not to cut you, but that's why language is
important. Yeah, the language.
Because technically, if we are identifying 1 as the variable, just as the number, then 1 plus 1 could be 11. But 9 times out of 10, 1 plus 1 is 2.
Right. And all this genders being assigned at birth and all that crap, I think that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, man.
You know, like we said, it's hard. It's hurtful to see a man, a biological man, you know, compete against women in sports. And, you know, because if you look at the records that's been set in the times of men and women in track and field, say, let's use track and field as an example. The slowest man outbeats the fastest woman by a landslide.
Yes.
It's not close.
Yes, they have that. They actually did a study of this. I think I shared it to you.
Yes.
There's legitimately a site somewhere on the Blue Ivy's internet where it literally shows you that stuff. Or it literally shows you, and that's why it's quote unquote unfair to me. Now we say life isn't fair, but in athletic competition, we create rules to create a level of fairness.
But that's why you have women's sports and you have men's sports. And I feel the easy and the most effective solution, just have a transgender sport.
I agree. Right.
You
Create
can
their
have
own
basketball.
league.
Let the transgender men play against other transgender men in basketball. Let transgender women play against other transgender women in volleyball. Whatever you want to do, let them have their own sport. Let it be you got the WNBA, you got the NBA, and you got the TNBA. I mean, what's wrong with that?
I
Come on,
agree.
don't y'all think that's a solution?
Well, here's, and this is why I agree with that, because, for example, I'll just use tools as an example. So we got screwdrivers. Well, we got different types. We got the flathead and we got the Phillips.
Yeah.
Now, when they created that star screwdriver, they didn't say the star screwdriver was a flathead or a Phillips.
No, because it's not.
It's not. It was a screwdriver though. But they understood it was a different type of screwdriver, so they gave it its own name, or its own league, or its own group, its own category. Right. You feel me? Right. It's now the star. So now we got 3 screwdrivers. We got flathead, we got Phillips, and now we got star. Right. We didn't change the language of what flathead and what screwdriver meant to be inclusive of star.
Exactly. That's a good
We
point.
just created a new category. So why can't we do that when it comes to transports?
Let's get into some of the factual of the matter.
Okay.
You know, some of these executive orders, because I think my guy Trump just passed an executive order where he, signed into legislation that we will only recognize 2 genders.
So that's defending women from gender ideology, extremism, and restoring biological truth to the federal government.
And I think that's is needed. We got to have this.
So let's see. Accordingly, my administration will defend women's rights and protect freedom of conscience by using clear and accurate language and policies to recognize women are biological females and men are biological males. Like
point blank period. What are they trying to create here? Like, what's the end game?
Well,
because if you go with 30 genders, so what's to say we can't? It ain't gonna go to 500 genders. Like what's the end game? Like, when do it stop? Like, when do?
And that's really my question too. Where is the line drawn? To your point, like male, female, then it was whatever. And personally, every time I have tried to engage a trans person in this discussion, or a gay person, or someone of the LGBT in these types of discussions about their view of the world and how they use the language, it's always met with a sense of defensiveness and resistance. Which prohibits me from gaining a better understanding of their view of the world. Now, I would like to understand them better, but they never are willing to have the conversation.
Now, you said every time you run into a what?
A what?
You said every time you run into a
transgender.
So now there's a difference.
Oh yeah, right.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
So we have transgenders, and then you have
transsexuals. As I learned,
is defined as.
So transgender is a person. Well, a transgender is someone whose gender identity differs from that typically associated with the sex they were assigned at birth.
Language,
right. Assignment at birth. Often transgender people desire medical assistance to medically transition from one sex to another. Those who do may identify as transsexual. So that's what I actually learned here. The difference between, language, transgender and transsexual, those are 2 separate things. Then I also learned that transsexual was, again, those are just the individuals who are actually trying to have the surgery. So it makes me think about that one quote where it says, if genitalia doesn't confirm gender, how does cutting it off affirm it?
Now, that's the point I would want to dwell on. If the argument is like gender doesn't, like you said, confirm or deny.
Well, the genitalia.
The genitalia, right. The balls and the nuts and, the ovaries and the reproductive system, and, that's inside the woman. If that,
the vulva.
If that doesn't confirm your gender, how is it that you got to have this sex change to affirm who you are?
Right.
So
I don't get it. I'm confused, and I'm really genuinely confused, ladies and
it's
gentlemen.
confusing because
I am
it's bullshit.
confused.
That's why.
And that's why personally,
confuses.
to your point, I just don't even engage it because, again, going back to language as well as vision, it's like my reality, you know what I mean? Kind of like how we talked about the power of language, where we showed those images of, everybody has their own, operating from their own reality.
Right.
So it's just like, that's another question. Like, where's the line drawn between me considering their reality, but them not having to consider my reality? Because think about it, like to your point, there's always this, they're leading with their identities or sexuality or transgender, or I'm a transsexual, or I identify as this. And you have to acknowledge me and refer to me as this.
Well, that's wrong right there. You shouldn't be leading or you... Right. Shouldn't. That's it right there. But it's still I'm gonna figure how to say it.
Yeah.
But leading with your sexuality is not the best way to represent yourself in society.
I agree.
You do not want to be identified by who you sleeping with or what you got going on in your.
I would
bedroom.
hope you have more going on than just some obsession with dick and ass and pussy.
You do yourself a disservice by sitting here saying I'm a homosexual American or I'm a LGBTQ American. Like, who cares? You're American or whatever.
I just care about you being American, right?
Or European descent, whatever. If you want to get into specifics, we'll go that route. But you should not be leading. You are more than your sexuality. You right. It's not good to be leading with your sexuality. You are more than just who you sleep with or the things that you do in your bedroom. That's just like if you went to prison. Like, should you? Is it ideal for you to be leading with? I'm a criminal American. I'm a felony American. Like, take all these adjectives, quote
away,
unquote,
right? Throw them away.
Throw them away. I mean, there's no purpose to it. It does yourself. It does yourself a disservice. Because I watch a lot of those Charlie Kirk videos, and they come up to the microphone. Well, I'm a LGBTQ person.
Right,
it's like, and he like, I mean, 9 times out of 10, it's obvious that you playing for the other team or whatever. You're confused or whatever the case may be. I mean, no disrespect, but whatever the case, it's you don't have to announce that.
Yeah, we can see it.
We don't care.
And that part too, most importantly.
People don't care.
Because again, when it comes to public matters and people affairs, like what you do in the privacy of your home is your business.
Because we should be treating people for the person that
should.
It's always better to treat people for the person that they are.
Exactly.
Like Martin Luther King said, we should be but Martin Luther King said he have a dream for the day where we'll be judged by the content of our character, and not the color of our skin or who we got sleeping in the bedroom.
I think you just opened up a whole nother can of worms, because I never applied Dr. King's I have a dream speech to this angle, because that makes perfect sense to me as you just said that. So are we moving away from Dr. King's dream?
Absolutely.
By having all these different adjectives that we want to put to acknowledge or identify ourselves?
All the DEI stuff.
Right.
DEI is a straight contradiction to Dr. King's dream, in my opinion. Because he, fought for a day where we weren't judged by the color of our skin, but more so the content of our character, our mindset, our cognitive ability to function and grasp and create and to innovate.
Capabilities
and right.
And
then another fact on this topic, real quick before we go to the next topic, the transgenders and the transsexuals, they don't see eye to eye.
I've noticed that as well.
They don't see eye to eye, and
There's beef.
We think as heterosexual people that is like all under one blanket. But the person that had the actual gender assignment surgery takes it very serious. Their title, and they're are often offended by the people that come along and just dress
kind
up,
of cosplay.
Kind of cosplay. That's how they refer, and they're pissed about it.
I would be too. It's kind of like you're hijacking my identity for your kind of on that note, before we close, you're hijacking my identity to hide behind something. So, for example, a man, cosplaying as a woman, identifying as transgender, but then you still want to fight a man. But then when the man hits you, now you want to. I'm a victim. I think we got a video about that.
Yeah. That one's crazy. Let's roll that video.
It's gonna be tough. He's a man. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm not gonna kiss his ass. I'm not gonna stroke his ego. Because a lot of times when the rah-rah comes, it's because they're on the defense mode because they know that the way that they're reacting is wrong. And you cannot tell me that shit doesn't hurt you.
But in another breath though, like, I do gotta take some type of accountability because I did, like, hit him first.
And you gotta stop that too?
I do gotta stop that because I be hitting, like, and I be thinking, like, a nigga not supposed to hit me back, but I don't know.
But we gonna figure it out, okay? Right. But I didn't like what the fuck I saw.
All right,
we doing TV, but
yeah, as we see.
What she say? She didn't agree. She's like, we'll figure that out. Right. Because you're clearly a man, and the man hit you. You can hit him back, bro. Take that wig off and square up.
Right, and that's the part of it that's somewhat confusing me because it's like, again, you wanna hide behind now you being a woman or being called just a woman when it's convenient for you, but you're cosplaying a woman, and then no different than in sports. You know what I mean? Like, it's to me, it just seems very unauthentic.
Yeah, and
that's someone, to your point, as someone who really took that lifestyle seriously, I most likely would feel offended by people cosplaying my identity.
It's not fair.
It's not.
It's not fair to women out there. And then another point that's not fair to the women, they gave them a whole nother title. They call them cis women.
Yeah.
It's like, so how are you going to take away them being a woman and label them cis woman, and now you're the woman?
Exactly.
It's like, come on now.
Ladies, don't let them hijack your title.
They not having it. Straight women ain't having it. They like, I'm a woman. Like, no, I'm a woman. And I think that's another, like, no, you're a cis woman. Like, come on now. It just don't make sense. I said, it's totally unfair. With society. It's unfair to women.
Yep.
They don't have their spaces anymore. They're not comfortable. They feel endangered. They're not safe, and we got to protect our women. We love our women. Our women are essential to our thriving and our
And in closing, on that specific note, did you see all those cases? I believe in the state of California, where the men, there were people humans that looked like men, but because they identified as women, they put them in the female prison. But then they was having sex with the female prisoners, getting them pregnant and stuff.
Yeah, I was wondering where you was going. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
So going back to your point about women need to be protected.
Yes, they do.
Especially, so you mean to tell me you go lock a woman in the cell with a man? And you feel, quote unquote, confident that you gotta do that because legally the language says if they identify, because I think that's what it was. The gentleman, he got on paper legally, he got it changed to where he was legally a woman, or legally female.
But he still had a schlong.
Yes,
and it was still working.
And he was still having sex with the woman.
I seen the, I think it was the Attorney General or the DA of some state or whatever the case may be. They was brought before Congress. And they were getting questioned, and and they was like, "How did you allow this man to be in a cell with a woman? How don't you think that's, and infringing on the woman's right? Who's even though she's a prisoner, she's in jail, she has rights. So we got your back, women out there. We ain't gonna let this happen.
Yeah,
like enough is enough.
Enough is enough. So moving right along.